As you know, I went away last weekend and I did a workshop up in the Catskills.
Yeah.
I conducted a prayer and meditation workshop.
Yes.
And I was there for 3 days. My workshop was only, I don't know, I think it ran like 90 minutes, but it was really interesting. You ever been up to the Catskills, by the way?
No, I've never been up there. No.
Yeah. I mean, like growing up, we never had any family trips up there or anything. It's really nice. It's really beautiful. It's very mountainous, very rural, New York State.
Mm-hmm.
But where I went was actually called it's the foothills of the Catskills. And, after spending so much time living on Cape Cod, when I get into some mountains, I look and it's like, these are foothills. They look huge.
Yeah.
They look huge, So I did a prayer meditation workshop over the weekend up there. And it was good. It was well attended. It was very good. It was really interesting. I would say that the thing that I wanted to hit with that workshop was that prayer and meditation is I propose meditation every night before you go to bed. And then when you get up in the morning, right, we use non-contemplative meditation.
Sure.
And what I was proposing at this workshop was that you need to carry it into the daytime too. Because when you meditate? Because when you meditate at night, a lot of people think that meditation is just like, you sit there and you relax and you become, whatever they're proposing, one with the universe or whatever it is. And that you become enlightened and you get filled with all sorts of information that you can then go, oh yeah, and put it into your life. Like, especially people that like to meditate in the morning and they're like, yeah, I get my juice in the morning and I get motivated to, and as you know, non-contemplative meditation is none of that, nothing like that, And so what I did was one of the things that you and I have spoken about in the past, and I did a demonstration. I actually did a group demonstration of the meditation.
Okay.
Which was really, really interesting. Now, you know what I've said about that in the past.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you shouldn't do it together.
Should not do it together.
Right.
And the reason for that is that I know there are people that do that together and they like that, and they like what the effect is. There are meditation techniques that are very trancy, and you sort of like, you sort of mix in with the environment. And if there are other people in the room, people have energies in them, Yeah. You don't want to meditate in a room full of people, because when you meditate in a room full of people, you sort of open up, and there's like a mingling of energies with people, and you don't know what's in people.
Okay.
You sort of ooze this, you can ooze this sort of psychic consciousness that's not necessarily God consciousness. It could be the consciousness of something in other people, because not everyone is awake and aware and good.
Okay. Right?
They have things.
So you're saying you can become vulnerable?
You become vulnerable. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And remember we had a guy who...
you would think somebody doing it right would not become vulnerable.
Well, they don't know it's right because they think that that's right.
Okay.
In fact, this one guy I'll tell you about that in a minute. There was one guy who had an experience like that over the weekend, which kind of made me say, ooh, I got to be careful with this. Yeah, this was a demonstration. It was not actually meditation. I was just showing them how to do it so that they could take it home with them and try it. And it was really interesting. The night before I did the workshop, this guy came up to me in the hall. I was going into my room at night. I was basically going to bed. And I don't know if he was staking me out or whatever, but there was nobody in the hall, and I just walked down the hall and went to my room and opened up the door, and there he was. I don't know where he came from. I mean, but he's this big guy. And he was
waiting for you.
I don't know. He was like, there was a men's room in the hallway. I don't know if he jumped out of the men's room or what it was, but he kind of cornered me. And we weren't talking about meditation because he hadn't, the workshop was the next day and in the morning. And he started talking to me, and he was an interesting guy, very nice guy, but he had a problem. I could see it in him. I could see he had a lot of anger in him. And one of his things he started to talk to me about was how he was holding on to resentments like for years and years and years, and he couldn't shake them. And I talked to him a little bit. I'm not going to go over what I discussed with him, but I could just see, like, in this, how you can see in someone's eyes that they're angry or upset.
Yeah, unstable sometimes.
Unstable. And he told me a little bit about his life and whatnot. He had problems with the next wife and stuff. So that was it. And then the next day, I did the meditation, and I did the workshop on prayer meditation, and then took everyone through it. And then later on that night, that would have been Saturday morning. Saturday night, same thing. I'm going to my room, and he just like
Oh man.
yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
like, and he was like, oh, he says, I did the meditation. He said, that was quite an experience. And I said, really? He says, yeah. He says, when I closed my eyes and I saw the lights, he said, all of a sudden, I saw a skull. And I was like, you saw a skull? He goes, yeah, it was right in front of me, like inside of my head, I could see a skull. And I was like, excellent. He was like, excellent. He goes, yeah, that's good. That's good. He was seeing what's in him. He never saw that before.
Yeah.
So that was something. I said, you're being shown something. His name was, I don't know what his name. I'll call him Mitt. His name was Mitt. And,
Okay.
And not Mitt Romney. I don't know. First name that came.
Not the best name, but okay.
What kind of name is Mitt anyway?
I don't know. It's like a second or third tier name. Not a very good name.
No.
No.
And I said, Mitt, there's something in you, and you saw it. And he was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way, you know. And then he thanked me. There was some other guy. Oh, too. The next day there was another guy who his name, it doesn't matter, their names don't matter. But he said he at the end of the this weekend, everybody kind of shares what their experience was and everything. And he started. There was another meditation seminar or workshop there too, where I don't know what it was all about, but it wasn't what I do.
Yeah. It was like more of the Eastern New Age.
Absolutely.
stuff.
The way they were talking about it,
Yeah.
They had all oozy and woozy and all that stuff. And he said, it was very complimentary, actually. He said to everyone, he said, when I come away for these spiritual weekends, I always try to go home with something and have a good takeaway. He said, he goes, and I appreciate all of the workshops and the meditations and everything. He said, but I have to tell you, he said, what I'm going to go home with is Danny's meditation. I mean, they call it Danny's meditation,
Yeah.
He said, I sat there, he goes, I can do, he was actually meditating. And what happened was he closed his eyes, and he says, and I saw the lights, and he said, and my hands got warm. And he said, and then when I opened my eyes, everything was clear. He says, and he goes, I knew it worked.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start doing that every day.
Okay.
I thought that was cool. I thought
cool.
that was quite. People have varying experiences,
Yeah.
Everybody,
Well, a lot of people, they're already familiar with the New Age meditation,
Sure.
the Eastern style stuff,
Right.
and it doesn't appeal to them.
right.
They don't take to it because they kind of get what it's about. It's about feeling good and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And when they try this meditation, it actually, for the first time in their life, or for a long time at least, they feel separate from the emotions and the thoughts, and they
Right.
feel connected to their creator, to God, and they like it.
Well, it's but they may not even put those words to it.
No, they might not.
Yeah,
Sure.
But that's what it is,
Right.
And
So
You're-
you naturally gravitate toward it.
and you start to see the truth.
Yeah.
About yourself. First thing you see is the truth about. Everybody wants to know the truth about everybody else. They want to see. They want validation that everyone's wrong and they're okay.
Yeah.
And then they meditate and they meditate properly and they wake up and they say, oh my God, it's me. It's me that's wrong, And then there was this other guy that came up to me and he goes, he says, I love that meditation. He says, I closed my eyes and he said, and I just drifted away. I was just drifting and I go, where'd you go?
Yeah.
Where'd you go? He
That's
goes,
not good.
I don't know, but I was drifting away.
He thinks that's complimentary to you.
Yeah. Well,
He thinks that's what because he knows about meditation. He thinks that's what you're supposed to do.
He was trying to be nice to me.
He's trying to be nice.
And I said, well, why did you drift away? He said, I don't know. But he says, it felt great. He says, all I did was, I closed my eyes, I put my hands together. And he said, and then he goes, and then I focused on my breath. And I'm like, I didn't tell you to focus on your breath.
That's not part of the
I
instructions.
implicitly
Yeah.
do not tell them to focus on, when you focus on your breath, that's how he felt euphoric.
Yeah, right.
So he abused
Right, he
it.
drifted away.
He drifted away,
Yeah.
and he felt euphoric. And that's the guy, he's one of the guys that you don't want to be in the room with that guy.
Yeah.
Meditating, and you open up, and then it's like swapping psychic spit with someone. You don't want that to happen. And he was saying that he drifted away, and he felt wonderful.
Well, good thing he came back, I guess.
Yeah, I hope he got back. But see, the thing is, when you focus or concentrate, there is no focusing or concentrating. It's defocusing and deconcentrating. That's the way I do it. And what happens is when you focus on your breath, your parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, okay? And that produces like a calm, okay? It's supposed to do that. That's what that part of your nervous system is supposed to do. So if you're agitated, if you're upset, or if your cortisol levels are high, that's supposed to kick in and bring them down. The problem is that whatever kicked them up in the sympathetic nervous system kicked up that process in you isn't corrected. So you're feeling better, and it's only temporary. When you stop, you come back down, and then you feel like crap again.
Yeah.
You're not fixing anything. You're treating a symptom.
Sure.
So he felt great. He felt high. He got high.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about one. I wasn't going to tell you about this guy, but I'll tell you about this one. Oh, I had mentioned him to you. He was a guy from. I had breakfast with him the next morning, and he was from Australia, and very heavy. I can't do his accent, but how do you do? You do a good.
Oh no, I don't want to try. Yeah.
He was an older gentleman, and he was from Australia, because he had a really thick Australian accent, and he's just sitting there talking to me. He goes, I meditate. I've been meditating for 40 years. And he's looking at me, kind of squinting at me, telling me this. And it's like scrambled eggs come falling out of his mouth. And I'm like, why is he talking to me like this?
Yeah.
He goes, I'm a Buddhist. And I said, oh, well, congratulations. He goes, and I've been doing this for 40 years. There is no future. There's only now, and there is no past. And I said, well, you're saying all the right things. That's true. He goes, yeah, well, I have a lot of experience with this. He didn't like me. I don't think he cared for me.
Really?
Much. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you're a Buddhist, don't eat scrambled eggs. It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's a Buddhist, but so he's not a Christian. He doesn't believe in
I guess not.
God, I guess.
I guess not. This was a very Christian event. You don't have to be Christian to meditate. I mean, but
no. But I mean, if you're Buddhist, it's just an interesting thing.
If you do it right, though, you'll become one.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So I would say basically the workshop was a success. Everybody liked it, and they actually want me to come back in 6 months. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I wanted to mention to you about the about the magnolia trees at the White House.
No.
Really?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Last week, Trump said he's going to tear. You know where the trees are in the White House? The magnolia trees.
No.
Okay. You've been there. I mean, you probably didn't know they were magnolia trees. You know where the on the south lawn. You know where the portico is, and they got those two staircases that come down on each side.
Yes.
Okay. On the left side, there's a whole bunch of trees there, and then it keeps going, and then it goes to the rose garden is up, and then toward the oval.
Okay.
Okay. So there's this bunch of trees there, and Trump wants to rip them out. He wants to tear them out. He says they're deteriorating, and they're actually dangerous. And everybody's, I don't know, they must be pretending to be all upset about it.
Okay.
He wants to tear them out. And that's part of a total remodeling of a lot of the stuff in the White House. You know about his remodeling?
No.
Oh, okay. Go to, I'll show you. Go to 33. This is the Oval now, since Trump got in. Look any different? Aside from the people.
No.
What a glum lot.
No, it looks the same.
No. Look at all the pictures.
Yeah, the pictures look good.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't have all those pictures. He put them all up there.
Well, yeah, of course. Every president gets to put whatever photos they want.
Yeah, but they don't put that many pictures up. So people are complaining that he covered the walls with pictures, and then also look at all the gold stuff. Look over the fireplace, those little gold things.
Yeah, all that gold.
And then the I guess the plants on top of the mantle are gone.
Yep, sometimes they have plants there. Yep.
Yeah, well, most of the presidents have that. Have kept the greenery up there. And see all the gold stuff. Everybody's complaining that he's putting too much gold. He's got a lot of gold ornaments and stuff there.
Yeah.
Which is all these accents, But one of the things that he's doing is he's going to build a ballroom.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he says that what do they use? The East Room, mostly?
For what?
For events, for state events, affairs.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he wants to expand it. He wants to expand that and build a huge ballroom with chandeliers. I think it might have couple of stories.
It's already huge.
He says it's too small. So
Okay.
he's going to build it. He's going to put $100 million of his own money into it and rebuild it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Isn't that crazy? And those magnolia trees outside, he wants to rip them out. And the thing is that, what was it? Andrew Jackson supposedly planted them there. So everybody's like, oh, he's changing history. Oh, he's also going to pave over the rose garden.
No.
He wants to turn it into a big patio like Mar-a-Lago.
No, not the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
No, I don't think so.
I believe so.
I don't think that's true.
I believe it is true.
I don't think so.
Yep. And he wants to tear, and everybody's upset because Jackie Kennedy designed it and all that stuff. But I'm thinking, wait a minute, when Jackie Kennedy redesigned it the way it is now, wasn't that upsetting something that existed previously too?
Probably.
So I was too young, I guess, to remember it. But yeah, so he wants to tear that all, he wants to pave it over and make it more like Mar-a-Lago. So it's kind of interesting. I think it's going to look okay.
Maybe.
Just one other thing about the magnolia trees. Did you know that a plane crashed into the White House?
When?
A private plane?
When?
I guess it was, I was working on Wall Street at the time, so I guess it was probably mid-90s.
Okay. No.
Yeah, this guy in Maryland he got totally drunk, okay, and he stole an airplane. And he gets into the airplane and he flies over. He comes down 17th, 17th Avenue comes down. He comes down 17th in the air, which is totally violating airspace, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he comes down and then he banks left toward the Washington Monument, turns around and heads right for the White House
Okay.
and crashes it.
Wow.
Here, go to the other clip. There it is.
Picture. Yeah.
There's the plane. Those are the magnolia trees right by the, see the stairs there? Can you see the stairs? Oh, no, they're off to the side. Yeah. Right there, he crashed this plane.
That's crazy.
And died instantly.
Wow.
Can you imagine if he hit the White House?
Well, it looks like he did hit the White House.
Well, he hit the magnolia trees. And that's why the magnolia trees they look terrible, the magnolia trees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they look terrible.
I have no idea what they look like.
I went on to, you've seen them in person. I have not. I went on to Google Maps and actually looked at them. They look sick. They look terrible. They look like they're yellowing and disheveled. And I think they should come out. Anyway, the guy died instantly. And funny thing is, Clinton, all the Clintons, Hillary, Bill Clinton, and Chelsea, this is like right below, like 2 floors down, I think, from might be right down from the bedrooms. I'm not sure exactly how it's laid out. But yeah, they weren't there that night. They were over at Blair because they were doing renovations inside the White House at that time. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. A lot of people don't know about that, but I don't know why it's history.
Did you see Robert F. Kennedy's press conference on autism a couple days ago?
No, I did not.
Okay. Well, he had one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything that new. They released HHS data from 2022 on autism rates. Basically, the rates have gotten worse. I think it's almost 1 out of 30 now. Kids, like 8-year-old kids. It's like 1 out of 31 or 1 out of 32.
I remember even 20 years ago, we were talking about how bad it was getting.
Yeah, but it's gotten worse since then. I think the last update was like 1 out of 36. So now it's even a larger rate than before. But what he wanted to focus on is in September, they're going to have some sort of big release with information about findings on new studies about it. Because he's certain that it's some sort of environmental toxin. He thinks it's either something in the food or the air or something like that. And a couple days earlier, he spoke to Trump and he told him that he wants to get more media attention around this. He's not doing the best job so far controlling the narrative, and that's something that Trump specializes in.
Controlling the narrative.
Controlling the narrative. Basically, you decide what the media is talking about and how they're talking about it. And so I think Trump wants Kennedy to get better at that with these topics, and I think he's trying to. So here's what he said during the press conference that has a lot of people up in arms.
Okay.
Autism destroys families. More importantly, it destroys our greatest resource, which are our children. These are children who should not be suffering like this. These are kids who, many of them were fully functional and regressed because of some environmental exposure into autism when they're 2 years old. And these are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted. And we have to recognize we are doing this to our children.
So he had this big statement like that, and that's pretty harsh what he said there. He's not talking about, he's changing how people speak about autism, because usually, honestly, the past, I don't know, 10 or 20 years, it's been spoken about like almost like a superpower. Like autism is what makes me me, you know, that kind of talk. That
like, where are you on the spectrum?
Yeah, it's like
if you're low enough on the spectrum, you're Elon Musk, you know.
Yeah, but there's been this sort of like autism positivity style thing, because you don't want people to feel bad about having autism. So it's like, my autism makes me who I am, and it, you know, gives me special abilities, stuff like that. And the way he just talked about it was more like a disease or like a plague almost. I mean, it was he basically said it's something being done onto children, right? Almost like lead poisoning or fetal alcohol syndrome or something. It's like this is something that needs to stop. We need to stop doing this to our children. So it's a huge shift in how people speak about autism. And it has a lot of people really upset, because there are a lot of people who are autistic or know people who are autistic who are going online and saying basically like, you know, Kennedy is dehumanizing us. And I saw somebody that I know actually, or not know directly, but follow, who thought that this was going in a almost like a eugenics direction, like basically talking about stigmatizing autism and saying like, oh, you know, we're going to devalue these people. But it's clear to me that what he's saying is, no, there are people who are suffering, who and oh my God, people are saying like, I have autism and I hold a job and I pay taxes and I use the bathroom by myself. It's like, yeah, he's not talking about those people. He's talking about the people with severe levels of autism, who basically need 24/7 care. I remember in elementary school, we had one kid who is like very autistic, and he was obviously very unhappy at school, maybe scared. I don't know. It's hard to tell, right? But he would run through the hallway screaming, and the teachers would have to chase him, and they would try and hold him down and all this stuff. And he took so much time and attention, and the school wasn't suited to handle him, basically. And it's people like that he's talking about. It's saying that, you know, he truly believes there's something going on here that's not just something you're born with. He thinks it's something done. He's saying it's not fair to those people that we're not putting the levels of research in order to figure out what that is.
Well, he's not getting to the cause.
Huh?
He's not getting to the cause.
Well, he's trying to. He's trying to. That's what he's hoping to do in September, I guess. Is kind of going to be start that. Yeah. So, and the thing is, the numbers he's talking about now, the 1 in 31 have autism type thing, which he compared it to the 60s and the 70s, where it was like 1 to 3 out of 10,000.
Yeah.
Basically, and the critics say right away, they say no, that's because of changes in diagnostic criteria. Say we're better at diagnosing people now, and he says no, even if that's true, that accounts for maybe 10 to 20% of the expansion in the rate. But what about people with severe autism that you can't miss? Those people would have been diagnosed. And when we're looking at the 1 in 30 rate that we have now, 25% of those people have severe autism. We have, you know, kids, 8-year-olds. So you have people you don't have people who are in their 70s or 80s who have that level of autism that we see now. So that's his rebuttal to that claim. It's just an expansion in diagnostic criteria. So it'll be interesting to see. Well, the problem is what happens.
You know, it's what he says is true, but I don't know that he's going to the cure or the cause, really, because he's talking about it. It's yes, we are doing it to them. We are doing this to our kids, and no, it is not a disease. It is what they do is they take these symptoms and they basically put them under this umbrella of autism, but that there are all these different degrees. There's not one thing called autism.
Right.
Like they have they have they have ADD, for example, right? They have behavioral issues. And so they try to treat these things with behavioral therapy, with pharmaceuticals, but it comes down. We are doing it to them. It's from the parents.
Yeah.
It's an emotional, spiritual dysfunction. You heard of? I don't know if this is an official term. I've heard it before, but turtling.
What is that?
You've heard of that?
No. In what context?
Turtling. It's like, when a turtle goes and hides its head.
I get that.
Yeah. So it's a broad term, but kids are being affected by their parents in a negative way. The parents don't know they're doing it. They don't realize it, but it's the emotional disruption, the emotional dysfunction of the parents is being projected onto the children, and the children are retreating into their heads, into their psyches, into their thought processes.
Yeah, I think there is some of that, but there's got to be a degree to which
All right, maybe there's something. Does he bring up vaccines?
He doesn't bring up anything here.
He's probably going to.
The point is running the trials, running the the experiments,
right?
To try and figure out what it is.
Well, they have to go to the parents because the parents are doing it. You remember the what was that guy? The dog whisperer. Do you remember the dog whisperer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So people would. I forgot his name.
Caesar something, right?
Yeah, Caesar.
Can't remember. I almost said Cesar Chavez.
Not Cesar Chavez.
No, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Caesar the dog whisperer.
Yeah,
he's probably still around. I used to like watching his show. He would take these people would bring their dogs to him and say, "Oh, they're misbehaving. They're doing these terrible things." He always came down to the one thing: it's you.
Yeah,
you're the one that's giving them these misbehaviors. You're the one that failed the dog, and the dog is like responding to you.
Right.
He would have to fix the people. What was that other guy the restaurant guy? Remember him? Levine. He did it with the restaurant owners.
Okay.
Right? Their restaurants are falling apart. They're not making any money, and they're going to go out of business. And he would come in and he would find these problems with the owners. Mm-hmm. It's you. You're a bunch of jerks.
Right.
Stop being a jerk, and your restaurant will take off. Stop being a jerk, and your kids will come out of their shell, so to speak. But they don't do that. They go for the symptoms. They give them ADD medications. They give them behavioral therapy, all these other cockamamie things that do nothing but smooth over the symptoms. So if he's going to go to, what is he going to, nutritional issues?
He wants to find some sort of toxin in air, water, food, medication, something, right, maybe vaccine, that is affecting people's behavior.
Well, first you have to have some sort of determination as to what's causing it. If those things are causing it, and they don't have that, they have clinical estimations, right? They don't know what it is.
Okay.
They don't know what the cause is.
Well, they're trying to research it. That's the whole point.
They're trying to label it and make create a pathology that they can follow and then try to correct through medicines or psychology or whatever.
No, or just taking contaminants out of our body.
That has got to have something to do with behavior of kids. Absolutely. It makes them hyperactive, right?
Sure.
ADHD.
I don't think you're right in blaming the parents 100% for this autism thing. We're talking about severe autism,
right,
the head banging, the nonverbal type stuff. Mm-hmm. I get that parents aren't always the best with kids, and that can happen. But still, we're seeing some
severe
sort
cases,
of
I can see
physical
that
manifestation happening that it was not around 50, 60 years ago. Something's changed.
The problem is if it's a clinical judgmental call, there's going to be misdiagnosis, there's going to be overdiagnosis, and there are going to be kids and people thrown into this category called autism, which don't even know what category it is. So they have the spectrum where you're going to fit.
Yeah. Are you talking? Listen, I don't think we're talking about the same people. I'm not talking about.
I'm talking about the severe one.
Half of my friends have autism.
They say.
Okay. Or think they have autism based on current diagnostic criteria.
Right.
They have something where it's like they're a little antisocial, or they think about things a little bit differently, or something, or they get flustered around too many people.
You're not talking about
something
those.
like that. I'm not really talking about that. No.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the expansionary diagnostic criteria that it's like now everybody who is like a little antisocial gets cold autistic.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the people who have debilitating issues now and need help 24/7.
Those are
the people I'm talking about.
The people you're talking about are people that might be affected by the environment or diet who develop actual neurological dysfunction.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, right.
And the thing is, they've looked for genetic markers. They've looked for things like that. They do find markers that seem to correlate, but what Kennedy says anyway, is those things still don't cause it. The same way you can have markers that predispose you to something, but you still need to take the steps to get there to get the thing, like lung cancer for smoking. It's like not everybody who smokes gets lung cancer, but if you can have a genetic predisposition to get lung cancer, but you have to smoke first to get it. You know what I mean? So he's saying there has to be something in the environment, something that we're doing to kids that's causing that to come out.
It's causing it to come out more. That's causing it. That's exacerbating an underlying condition.
Now, it seems to me that a major criticism of him saying his big point is like, well, we don't have 60 or 70-year-olds with this severe level of autism. They don't exist. So obviously something changed between when they grew up and when kids are growing up now. And to that,
I say parenting is getting worse.
You could say parenting, but I think it's more likely something. I mean, it could be plastics. We've talked about plastics.
Right.
Could be vaccine. We've dramatically changed the vaccine schedule. Could be glyphosate. Could be what do they call those? Pesticides, herbicides, things like that. We use a lot more of that. So there are plenty of changes to look at.
Right.
The thing is, the rebuttal to his point though would be to say, well, actually, we used to lock those people up. I mean, we got rid of asylums, right? We got rid of the idea of crazy people. We don't have asylums anymore. We have homeless shelters. We have stuff like that. So that's one thing. And those people didn't live very long because they weren't treated well. You know, but still, it seems to me like there has been a change, and I do hope they find it. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be spiritually well, but it is good to know what's going on.
My concern is that a lot of the people who are spiritually unwell, that's been passed on by the parents, are going to get lumped into this category and going to think that, you know, whatever they come up, whatever solutions they come up with, whatever medical solutions or nutritional solutions,
I get that.
That they really don't fall into that category.
Well,
because it's so broad.
Another one now, which was a story about a week ago, is ADHD.
Right.
Okay, I think you mentioned it before. The New York Times had a big piece on ADHD, and if they always phrase it like this whenever they want to admit they were wrong. They say the way we've been thinking about ADHD might be incorrect. It's like, we? What do you mean we?
Yeah,
that's you.
It's you.
That's you.
Yeah.
There are plenty of parents out there who are openly saying, yeah, my kid was diagnosed with ADHD, or he could have been diagnosed. Like, I saw he fit the symptoms, but I didn't want him diagnosed because I didn't want him on Ritalin. I didn't want him on Adderall.
Well, you know, ADHD, it used to be called ADD.
ADD.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
ADD. And they added the H in, which is hyperactivity. You know? So you know that I was diagnosed with ADD.
Right.
Right.
As an adult.
Yeah. Adult ADD.
Yeah.
And that was years ago. And you know, they put me on a medication. It was awful.
What was it?
They tried me on Ritalin one time.
Yeah.
And I took it once and would never take it again. It was like totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was like amphetamines. It was like, oh my God, this is horrible.
Right. I don't think it's an amphetamine though. I think it's
amphetamine salt, but still
methyl something. I don't know.
Yeah. It made me like, it gave me the H in the ADD. I'm telling you, it was terrible. Okay. And I didn't even finish it. I took I did it one day. And, oh no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You know? And then they switched over to something called Concerta at the time, which was kind of weird. It was like this little plastic barrel that had holes in it, and you would swallow the barrel. It was plastic. Yeah, plastic. And it would go through your digestive system, and this chemical would slowly ooze out into your system and be absorbed and break the blood-brain barrier. And
you sound like somebody describing pills.
Yeah, but this wasn't. It didn't dissolve.
Okay. You sound like somebody from the 1800s describing pills, like this plastic barrel that you swallow and it dissolves.
No, it didn't dissolve. That's the thing. It didn't dissolve. I was describing the mechanics of it.
You're saying it's different than a normal pill.
Yeah, it's different than and then they gave me another thing, and eventually I just said, this is ridiculous. I'm coming off of it.
Yeah.
And when I came off of it, I was on those for probably a couple of years, probably close to 2 years. And then I came off of it and I realized I didn't need him.
When they first started this ADHD thing, they thought it was a brain thing. They thought it was something different with kids' brains.
Right.
Two, they thought that there would be around a 3% ADHD rate among children. And that's what they found at first. And they thought they found some genetic markers at first and some brain differences. But then as it started rolling, all of a sudden it was like the rates were higher. It's like, okay, it's not 3%, it's 5%. No, it's 7. No, it's 8. No, it's 9. No, it's 10. Now it's like above 11%.
Wow.
So it's like over 1 out of 10 kids are diagnosed with ADHD and then put on some sort of drug. And the researchers are like, okay, well, that's way higher than we thought it was going to be. And then they look at the results for the brain stuff, and some of them, they couldn't replicate the results. Other ones were like, well, we thought there was a difference in brain matter. But then actually, when you look at it, it's not that different. It's probably not different enough to actually conclude anything. And I sort of, I'm not going to outright say it, but I sort of regret being pushing so strongly this stuff. This is what actual researchers were saying.
Right.
It's like, we really shouldn't have concluded that at the time. So it's like, okay, so it's not a brain thing. It's not an observable brain thing. And the rates now, you thought were going to be like 3%, or like now we're prescribing medication. It's like more than 11% have ADHD, according to this diagnostic criteria they use.
Well, the thing is, when people have problems concentrating or paying attention, they go to their primary care physician, and the primary care physician just writes them a prescription for some.
We got that.
They're not undergoing these scientific studies and brain studies and all that stuff.
No, of course not.
This is all in the background.
No, you just meet like 4 out of 7 or something like that. I'm making that up, but it's one of those things.
I did not want to go that route, so I said, "Listen, I want this thing properly diagnosed. If that's what I've got." So they sent me to a psychiatrist. Okay. Yeah. And I had to sit for a test. It was hours and hours long.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent time with this guy. I looked at everything. I don't know if it was Rorschach tests or patterns, but all kinds of stuff. It was a grueling test. And he came back a couple of weeks later with a report of the diagnosis. And it was 12 pages long. Okay. And he characterized it as, you have one of the worst cases of ADD I've ever seen in my career. That's what he said. So I said, I do? You're one of the worst. I've never seen anybody as bad as you.
Maybe he just didn't like you. Maybe he just thought you were hard to deal with.
So he gave me a prescription for these medications. Yeah. And I took them, and I'll tell you, they work. They do work. They work at first, but then after a while, it just...
Yeah, so what they found with these medications is after the first 14 months...
Yeah.
The kids were doing better. They're like, oh yeah, their behavior's changed. They're so much easier to deal with. Okay, after like 36 months,
right,
just total return to how they were.
Really?
Their body actually adjusts just like a drug.
Right.
They get used to it, and it stops working as well. They need
see.
more.
So they build tolerance.
They build tolerance
and a dependency. If there's tolerance,
because it's an amphetamine. It's a drug.
It really is.
It's a drug, and it acts like a drug too. Yeah. Here's the other thing, and this makes it totally like a drug. By the way, is that kids' test scores, their actual outcomes in school, did not get better with these drugs.
Oh.
They didn't get better.
Well, you would think they would.
They were just, no.
Even temporarily in the beginning?
Even temporarily. They didn't get better. Their behavior changed.
Ah.
And the kids felt that they were doing better. They felt more efficient. They felt like they were handling things better. But their actual results weren't different.
Okay. So... which made them more manageable at home. It made them nicer people.
Yeah, it made them more manageable. It made them feel better.
So it made the parents happy.
Yes, and it made them feel more efficient, more productive.
Yeah.
But they weren't more productive.
No.
They just behaved differently, which is like classic drug behavior, by the way. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm getting so much. It's like, no, you look like a crazy person right now. Now these kids, their behavior is different. They were easier to deal with. But the point is, they weren't even getting. They actually in clinical trials, they had a test where they call it like a backpack or a knapsack test. I don't even know what that means. But basically, they have to sort a backpack and its contents efficiently or something like that. And the kids who were on it were like, yeah, like I'm doing such a good job. And they were moving faster, and they were taking things out and putting it back into the backpack and whatever. And the kids who have ADHD but weren't on drugs were like, whatever.
Yeah.
And they didn't perform any differently. The end result was the same. And the kids who were on the drug were like, yeah, I aced that. They were like way more proud, but even though they were moving faster,
right,
their strategies were less efficient.
Right.
So they did more and got less done.
Sounds like it almost boosted their egos more.
Maybe, but the point is they actually moved faster and with more energy, and they got less done at the end. Yeah, they were like, I aced that.
Yeah.
So there's something crazy going on with that. I mean, that's like classic like drug symptoms.
Oh, yeah.
Is like, yeah, you think you're doing things, you don't know how you actually are acting, and you don't know the actual results of what you're doing. So it basically doesn't work. It basically doesn't work. And now they're thinking, okay, there's something wrong here. That like we didn't go about this the right way.
No, you have to go after the deeper spiritual and emotional disconnection.
Yeah.
And then it's basically you're getting lost in your thoughts, and that's what's getting distracted. At the time that I was taking the medication.
And that's why, by the way, people with ADHD, and this is classic, when they find something that they enjoy doing, they're fine.
They're fine, yeah,
they're
right.
fine. It's only when something is boring that they have problems. They say, okay, well, why is something boring so troublesome?
Because, what am I going to say?
I don't know, tell me.
It's resentment.
Okay.
It's resentment.
Yeah.
And at the time that I was doing it, I was undergoing basically sort of a spiritual evolution myself, and I was getting less and less resentful. And then by the time it was gone and I stopped the medication, I felt so much better. It's like, oh, wow, I'm fine. I was not losing my keys anymore.
Yeah. So it's really more about your ability to do something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Resenting, yeah, right, exactly. And resenting having to do something.
And there is a degree to which resentment plays a role, for sure. In fact, it might be most of it. But there's also a degree to which we're failing kids by giving them tasks and giving them busy work, giving them make work that's probably not appropriate for, like, boys. Like, they're diagnosing, like, I think it was 17-year-olds. It's like 20% of 17-year-olds are on these drugs.
Right.
Like,
how many?
It's like 20%.
Of 17-year-old boys?
Yeah. Or maybe not on the drugs, but they're diagnosed.
Wow.
Which makes
that's
them
ridiculous.
Eligible for the drugs.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. It's stupid. It's stupid. So, yes, it has to do with resentment, but it also has to do with, are we really educating them in the best way?
Yeah.
Because making somebody sit, especially boys. I mean, girls are better at that than boys. Sitting there and being quiet and basically, yes, we like things done this way. Boys want to wreak havoc and run around and stuff like that. So if you don't have an education system that's set up to teach young boys, you're going to think those boys are problematic when really they're just boys. You know,
one of the things at the time that I was having an issue with it was also my diet was just terrible, really high sugar.
Yeah,
I had triglycerides. When I tell this number, people are like, that's not possible, but it is possible. I had triglycerides of over like 3,000.
Yeah.
They flipped out. They freaked out.
Right.
My blood serum, looked like Hellman's mayonnaise.
Yeah.
They couldn't even test the other cholesterols. It was so high.
Yeah.
And but when I started to eat better and started to change, so a lot of it could be hyperactivity. Sugar. Right. Twinkies will make kids run around the room.
It's definitely health. Everything's related.
Everything's related. Maybe he'll get into. Is he talking about ADD as well as autism?
No, he was talking about autism.
Oh, okay.
But if he's able to shift the narrative like that,
right,
then everything's going to go.
I look forward to it.
But what he's doing the Trump special is what he's doing.
What's the Trump special?
He's saying something very controversial.
Oh, I see.
And he knows it's controversial because he deals with a lot of families with autism, a lot of parents with kids with severe levels of autism.
Right.
And he knows that the going narrative for the past 20 years about autism has been basically like, almost celebrating it as a difference. This whole like neurodivergent, like,
that's the thing.
You have to respect my differences. And he's come out a few days ago and he was like, this destroys families. It makes things difficult. It is not fair to the kids. We have to do something about it. And it's caused a huge uproar within the autism community, basically, who are like, we are capable people. We can do things. We don't need your... And it's like, yeah, you can, but a lot of people can't, and I'm going to bring attention to him. So he's caused a controversy, which is why I said it's the Trump special. Because once you do that, now you've got the media talking about what you want to talk about. And when he comes out and if he keeps doing that, when he comes out in September with some results, they'll have to acquiesce. All eyeballs, all cameras will be pointed at him.
Right.
And he'll say, I got the numbers. I was right. And everybody will cover it, and then you'll have a shift in how society thinks about a problem. So that's what he's doing.
They did the same thing with ADD. ADD. It was ADD.
Yeah, same thing.
The same thing in that there was a narrative out there that was available in books, and even some doctors were writing books about it that almost made you feel like, oh no, you have ADD, you're special.
Yeah. That's
you
what
you actually have a superior mind from other people. We just don't know how to harness it. And then they would go down the list of all these famous, inventors and
Right.
champions of, captains of industry. They all
sure.
suffered ADD. They all
Sure.
suffered. And the idea is, because their brains are so powerful, if they learn to focus, they then
Right.
accomplish amazing things, which is true. If you can focus, you can accomplish amazing
Yeah.
things. And just take this drug and that'll be you. You'll be.
Yeah, but at the same time, all the famous people they're referencing didn't take that drug, right?
They didn't. Yeah, right. They didn't. No, they didn't even have the drug.
I feel like
know.
it's like, why are you trying to nerf me here?
Nerf you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Nerf something means to make it less powerful, to make it ineffective.
Soft.
Yeah, to make it soft.
Make it bounce.
Yeah,
bounce
like, they
inside.
nerfed that.
They nerfed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They nerfed spam.
They nerfed spam.
Yes.
Now you have to explain that one.
Okay. Spam has, you know what spam is? Obviously processed.
Oh, the meat. The meat.
The meat.
Yeah.
So then, and I know
I
you
used to
know
love
this
spam.
already.
Yeah, I
no,
do.
you don't love spam anymore. You don't love spam.
No, I don't anymore.
The reason
no.
the reason you don't love spam, because I looked it up, when you used to open spam,
Right.
and this is like before 2010-ish.
Yeah.
I'm getting the years a little wrong, but used to open it and there used to be a layer of this nasty, disgusting gelatin
was gross.
on top, and you just get rid of it
Get
so
rid
you
of
can
it.
get the meat, right?
Yeah.
And they knew that was bad.
Right.
There's the Hormel, right? They knew that was undesirable. So they started putting potato starch in the meat. And that potato starch absorbs that gelatin and keeps it in the meat. So now when you open it, you just get a nice pink top and there's no more gelatin. Oh, wait, yes, there is, but it's in the meat.
It's in the meat. It tastes terrible.
Now when you fry it up,
Yeah.
it doesn't get as crispy. You don't have the same thing because it has all that gelatin in it now. You're eating it. Whereas before you used to throw it away.
Growing up in the Bronx,
So it doesn't come out the same anymore.
There was nothing.
So you would say they nerfed spam. I'm giving you
an
example.
they ruined it. They ruined it.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you and your sister were little kids, I said, we're going to have spam. I grew up with this.
Yeah.
I know you're probably 10 years old, maybe, or something
Yeah.
like that. And I remember bringing it home and having that experience because
Well, no, not then. No. I ate spam plenty of times. It was fun.
when it was good. At some point, it changed. We used to eat.
Yeah, we stopped eating spam as a family when we started getting into healthier things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like probably 15 years ago that you said, let's try some spam.
Oh,
just
even
for
longer
fun.
than that.
But it was like just for fun.
Yeah.
And we got it and it wasn't the
was
same.
terrible.
It was like, this
Yeah.
is not the same.
Big plate of spam, like 3 or 4 slices of spam.
Yeah.
Smothered with Heinz ketchup
Sure.
with a side of Kraft macaroni and cheese.
That'd be good.
I grew up with that.
Yeah, right.
I grew up with that. And then afterwards.
So did I.
You didn't grow up with it.
Yes, I did.
Oh, yeah, macaroni and cheese, yeah.
Spam?
Yeah.
I ate
but-
spam
but
all
it was,
the time as
But
a
it was
kid.
good then.
I know. I ate
was
spam
good.
all the time. I'm telling you, I ate spam all the time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for dessert, ring ding. Well, not ring dings, but like Twinkies or
I
something.
don't know. Entenmann's pound cake.
Entenmann's pound cake.
Entenmann's
yeah.
crumb cake.
Those,
Yeah, don't eat any of those things anymore.
No, those things are also delicious, but they're so. I don't think they're as good anymore. Anyway, they don't look. I pass them in the supermarket, and they look. I don't know. They look pressed out of a factory.
I think a lot of them are smaller too.
I think they're probably smaller.
They're smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I hope that Kennedy is successful. I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say.
I hope he finds something.
You're saying he's what'd you call it? How's he act? What is he running out of Trump's playbook?
I said he's doing the Trump special.
The Trump special.
Yeah, he's making a very controversial statement that will take a little while to set in, but will get a lot of attention.
Right.
And when he can actually deliver to back up some of what he's saying, it'll change the narrative. It'll change societal's perception.
Just
of
like tariffs.
Like tariffs, like the border,
right?
Like China, literally like everything.
People think Trump is for tariffs. Trump is not for tariffs. Trump is for free trade.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, well, I think he does like tariffs a bit because put it this way: I'm for free trade. I am not convinced that free trade as a in its full form is even possible in reality.
Right.
It's just not. You have too many bad actors. Free trade, and I heard this line the other day. I forget exactly. I'm going to misquote it, but it was something like, it's like the economists, they're great. Okay. The free trade, like that's great. Makes a lot of sense. Sounds wonderful. Mm-hmm. They forgot about one thing, humans. They forgot how humans are. Okay. Mm-hmm. You are not going to be able to set up a situation where all the countries in the world are going to ignore the opportunity to take advantage of you. And when people are taking advantage of you, you have to do something to retaliate.
Yeah, sure.
You always do.
Yeah, to protect yourself.
To protect yourself.
Right.
So, I mean, that's like saying like, oh, well, we don't have to protect our steel industry because nobody should go to war. It's like, yeah, I know, but somebody will.
But we will.
So,
Yeah.
So
we don't need battleships.
yeah,
we should be peaceful.
So that's part of it, because they have these hidden tariffs too that aren't real tariffs. They're just barriers. They're just trade barriers, like health and safety. It's like, well, you want to sell your cheese here, but foreign cheese, we have a rule, and it takes a week to clear. We have a big health inspection that we need to run on every ship. It's like, okay, well, you just made it's basically 1,000% tariff on my cheese because I can never get it in. It's like, well, it's not an economic policy; it's a health policy.
Right.
It's like, okay, it's an economic.
When
policy.
I was in the fruit and vegetable business, in the import business, we used to have to deal with what we call duties.
Yeah,
they were called duties.
Sure.
And these countries and the duties would either go up or down depending upon whether we wanted more or less of this product coming into the country.
Yeah.
Right. So if we had like an apple crop that didn't quite do well, we would lower the duties, and then we'd be able to bring in more. And when we have a lot of them, we would raise them, and then the duties.
Because they have your own.
Yeah, because nobody wants to send them in then.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, same thing.
Yep.
You want to be able to control the economics of it. The same thing with inflation, with money, money supply.
Yeah. So the thing is, all these countries do that.
Yeah.
And Trump is saying, no, we need to take them to task on what they're doing.
Right. We shall see. We shall see how it all plays out.
I'll just read one more thing to you.
Okay.
Just because it's Easter weekend right now.
Right.
And here's I just wanted to read to you without context King Charles's Easter message. Okay. Here's a
King Charles.
King Charles.
What does he have an Easter
King
message?
Charles. Huh?
Why does he have an Easter message?
Why does he have an Easter message?
Yes.
Well, because he's the head of the church there, right?
I guess, yeah, right.
I mean, technically,
of course,
he's got to have an Easter
Church of
message.
England.
Church of England.
Yeah.
Now he's not. I don't know
he's
how
like the Pope.
I don't think they think about him that way.
No,
I'm not sure what in modern times how they think about that, because we're not.
Right.
I'm not Anglican or anything like that. But let me read to you his Easter message.
Yeah, sure.
Here's a paragraph here. On Maundy Thursday, Jesus knelt and washed the feet of many of those who would abandon him. His humble action was a token of his love that knew no bounds or boundaries, and is central to Christian theology, to Christian belief. So he's getting in that liberation theology, no boundaries. He's getting in the no borders line there. Yeah, I promise you that's classic out of liberation theology.
Yeah,
it's this like, a world without borders type
sneaky.
thing.
That's sneaky.
It is sneaky
crap.
Let me read to you the next part. Remember, this is for Easter. This is his Easter message. Okay. The love he showed us when he walked the earth reflected the Jewish ethic of caring for strangers and those in need. It's like, okay, well, he was Jewish. I don't know why you're bringing up
why is it only
Judaism,
Jewish?
but yeah, it's a little weird. It's like the Jewish ethic. Well, isn't the Christian ethic of caring for those in need? Is this a Christian holiday we're celebrating? Okay. No, it goes further. It also shows a deep human instinct echoed in Islam and other religious traditions.
Great. Yeah.
Why is he bringing up Islam?
Because
it's an Easter message.
Well, he's inclusive.
That's I know, but it's horribly insulting.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
it's a Christian holiday. Jesus.
Imagine doing that for a Jewish holiday, for Passover. Saying Happy Passover. Us Christians really reflect the ethics that you're trying to meet right now. It's like, what are you talking? Why would you say that?
Yeah.
And of course, you would never do it for Islam. They would be horribly insulted if you did it for Islam.
That's right.
But just weird stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I just want to throw that in.
Okay. That is actually interesting.
Our English listeners won't like that very much.
Too bad.
They won't like that message very much.
Oh, la-di-da.
No, they'll like what we're saying. They won't like what he said, is what I mean.
They won't like what he said? No.
Who would? I mean, it's horribly insulting.
It is.
All right.
Very good.
Is that it for today?
I think so.
Cool.
But I will tell you this. I will give you a hint now about what I want to talk about next time, because we don't have time today.
Okay, sure.
But I do want to talk. We were talking about that plane crash. I do want to talk about plane crashes.
Okay. We can do it.
We'll do that next time.
We can do it.
Okay.
I've never been in one.
I've never been in one either.
Yeah.
Thank God. But I want to talk about plane crashes because there is a spiritual connection to these things.
Oh, come on.
I swear there is.
Oh, come on.
And I know what it is.
Do you think I should command my plane to land safely?
Oh, like that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. You can't
because
command
he's
your
part
plane.
of God and therefore has power of God. And
No. This is actually.
If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, that's in the last episode.
Look at the. No, this is big.
Okay.
This is big.
All right.
Okay.
You say so.
All right.
Okay.
All righty.
Bye.